Alright, and we are here for the next episode of the Challenge series. Episode 2 of B tier. And get a look at the point standing is just there. Obviously it's too early to make any definitive assessments because we've only done 4 of the 12 races. But by the end of the episode we should have a pretty good idea of who's in and who's out. Now we have Black Cat County Short, which is the same as it was in the last championship. We just added on an additional lap. Well, this would be exactly what Madison needs if she is going to not increase her points lead, to close the points lead that Stephanie Kaiser has. However, Kaiser still starts 4th, and she's not far away from some good points herself. She just has to make sure she stays ahead of her fellow Porsche drivers who start 6th and 7th. She also needed to avoid a bad start off the line, which, well, it hasn't been a great one, but she hasn't lost places, so it's workable. With Linne and Akira fighting for second, this should give Madison Palmer the chance she needs to establish a lead. Should being the key word. Oh, what is a cluster back here? Madison Palmer has not managed to really maximize any kind of lead like I figured she'd have done by now. The top 4 are getting a pretty decent distance away from everybody else. Pablo not really finding much speed on offer in his M4 at the moment. He is going to be under threat from the other Carrera drivers in the very near future. Dedrick apparently got very fancy with what I imagine to be the wall. Oh, excuse me. But a couple of small bumps really isn't going to be like a small dent. It's not going to be the end of the world for any of these cars. It's only when it's like suspension damage or engine wear, that's when it becomes an issue. As Darius trying to make his way up the grid. Riley and Thomas, despite being from completely opposite generations, close friends in real life off the track, and also are, well, fighting for 11th. Not really anything on the line for this position even. Probably just bragging rights if nothing else. Linne seemed incapable of sticking with Akira, who is actually getting ever closer to Madison after breaking away from the RX-7 driver. Travis looks to have completed a move on Hernandez to reach 5th place. That'll put Stephanie a little bit under pressure because now there's somebody in a fast car behind her. And there may be a second person. The other Porsche may soon be joining in the rearview mirror if Pablo doesn't get his stuff together pretty quickly here. The smooth response of the naturally aspirated Corvette will help on long straightaways. and on acceleration zones alike. It's only when you actually get to a long straightaway the Super is gonna slowly reel in the Corvette Plus, it also has a little bit better handling thanks to aerodynamic parts like the rear wing there. Thrasher has also had a collision at some point. Schwartz is ahead of Hernandez, and Thrasher, give it too long, he'll probably do the same. Thomas O'Reilly is into a points position, and also into the wall. Meanwhile, Riley is down to 13th, having been passed by Darius along the way. This track not terribly well suited to the elite or to the Lotus drivers, so Taylor being in last is probably not that much of a shock here. There are a lot of corners where you'd think the Lotus would actually specialize, but it can never capitalize out of these corners because they're too high speed. They don't create passing opportunities. And then, if there ever is a point in time where that is the case, there's a straightaway like this, and the Lotus will suffer. Stephanie is all over the taillights of Linné, but she'd better act fast because the rest of the Porsche brigade is right on her toes. That is right on her tail, not on her toes. Tails are in front of you, forehead. Here comes the acceleration of that Shelby Cobra, and he's just going to put himself right next to Isabella and hope. And the acceleration can carry him up to 9th place, because the handling here probably can't. Meanwhile, just ahead, Thrasher makes the pass on Pablo Hernandez. He will be in 7th, and Thomas could do the same. But going around the outside here, good luck. Well, alrighty then. I guess he had good luck. There's a wall, but he's tapped the wall quite a few times and he still doesn't have any more damage to his car, so lucky you. Isabella will be the next to attempt to pass Hernandez, who is definitely very much off the pace in this race. The M4 is not an uncompetitive vehicle in this tier, it's just that apparently he's just having a major off day. Interesting that Riley has gone down so far the grid, despite the fact that the Corvette in the front is, in the front still. Under very little pressure from Akira in 2nd. Akira's design here, of course, a reference to the Super GT Castrol Supras that raced in the, well, was at the time called the GGTC, back in like the 90s. If you've played a Gran Turismo game, you would know exactly what the car I'm talking about is. Now this is Gridlock. Linné has created the great Carrera train of 2020. But her car has just enough horsepower to keep her ahead of all three. When I say just enough, I mean just enough. You better not make any mistakes now, Linné, or you will be consumed by the German cars. Except for Pablo, I don't think he'll be eating much other than people's dust. Can he at least maintain a points finish? I'm not sure. She's got some space. Looks like that'll be enough space to maintain third place to the end of the race. Although Stephanie showing a small amount of, desperation, braking later than usual for that. It's like a pack of Skittles here through these hairpins. In through the last corner, Madison Palmer is going to take another win, this time at Black Hat County, and the points battle, maybe a tie. I think it is in fact a tie, because Stephanie is not going to be able to get around the Mazda and comes 4th place. Thomas with the surprising drive from the 66-year-old driver to take points after starting in last place. Nope, it is a 1-point lead to Madison Palmer. And we head to Monza for our next race, so that'll be another track that just continues to benefit the Corvette. And really, just the Corvette. We're at the starting grid of Monza, and yikes! Well, that's the opposite of what Madison needs, and the points lead is almost certainly going back to Stephanie with this one. I think straight up the only way that doesn't happen is if Stephanie gets run off the track by somebody trying to get aggressive. Travis is going to get off the line just a little bit better. But Stephanie brakes later and should therefore be able to maintain the lead coming out of turn 2. Hyde is already down 2 positions, and we haven't even made it to the second chicane yet. And Thomas passed him off the line, which doesn't really surprise me, but he got passed by Hernandez. Madison also down a place from where she started. She has a lot of work to do. She's to try and maintain a points lead, but... or, at least remain close, but she's honestly looking like she's going to be going down places at the rate she's going. I mean, she already has gone down 1, but... heaven forbid she still go down even further and end up finishing in last. Up ahead, Isabella Flynn just about puts Riley Blanchard into the gravel. Madison with a better exit from that turn. Gonna try and take 12th back from Gina, who stole it from her off the grid, but is kind of compromised by the shenanigans up ahead. The shenanigans won't stop Madison from at least taking back 12th. At the bare minimum. And that route is closed. And Akira will take pretty clear advantage of all of the just weird stuff happening ahead of Madison and attempt to take 12th away from her. And considering Thrasher is a little bit slower and ahead of Madison, yeah, that's going to be an easy position for Akira, and he'll get another for his troubles off of Thrasher. Top 3 are very far away from everybody else. Courtesy of Pablo not being very fast. Madison did eventually get past Thrasher down the main straightaway, or, at least into the first turn, one or the other. So she's still in a net 12th, but, you still need 2 more if you're going to score anything. Akira gets this, alongside Isabella as we head to the second chicane. I think Isabella's going to come out of that one victorious. There's no reason Madison wouldn't be more aggressive. She doesn't really lose much from back here if she gets into a crash, but she does have a lot more to gain, like, points. We need a faster vehicle than the Ferrari GTO to be the one behind Pablo. As soon as that happens, actually we may not, because Hyde just chickened out apparently. Never mind. Yes, the Corvette. That is what we need to break up this train. Need the Corvette. We need something with a lot of speed in a straight line, and somebody that's not a chicken. Yeah, that's about as easy as it gets. Pablo must have a little bit better brakes if he was able to fight that through the chicane, but yeah, I think that's pretty much settled. Travis had the fastest lap of the race, but because they're in the same car, he will still have basically no answer for the leader. Akira at some point finally got ahead of Flynn, which will grant him a singular point in the race. Thrasher seems to be off pace, which is kind of surprising considering his other Cobra counterpart is running in third. As Darius will make one pass, exiting the corner, and will make another pass, entering the next. This could put him into 5th place if he sticks it. Stephanie is going to win at Monza, which is going to very significantly cement her points lead. There's a Porsche 1-2, and Darius will indeed claim 4th place. Madison is going to finish a lowly 12th and score nothing. Yeah, now it's a 14-point lead for Stephanie. And Madison, kind of needs to start scoring points. She's going to win the championship. It's that simple. It's a tie for 6th between 3 people. How does that happen? Honestly, if it's a good race for Thomas or Travis, or a good couple of races for Thomas and Travis, and Stephanie has a race like Madison just did, we could finally get a little more compression, and we have, more people fighting for the championship than just 2. But on to Zandvoort, where we just kind of hope the starting grid doesn't do that again, and, you know, creates an interesting championship battle, and it's not decided by round 9. Alright, we are on the starting grid of Zandvoort. And, I mean, Travis is going to pretty much be out of this one. But, Thomas won't be, and Madison will have a chance to at least make up a few of those points. Stephanie is still in a decent spot, and Pablo is ahead of her, so that's a pretty easy pass, really, under most circumstances. She's not really under much immediate threat from being passed off the line, because Hyde is next to her on the grid, who hasn't really had a great debut. As you can see, I mean, having an old-ass car really hasn't helped many, but, like, it's not good. What I didn't expect is that Riley would be putting him under massive pressure, though. Or putting her. Stephanie is not a guy. I'm stupid. Stephanie's gonna make up 2 places in the first corner, possibly. Yes. She thought about a third. She's trying the outside. Pablo's slow, but not that slow. Somehow Linne couldn't manage to make her pay for that decision-making. Thrasher also up 2 places from where he started, and Madison has taken the lead off the start, probably due to Thomas's poor handling. He is now under threat from Isabella Flynn. But the Cobras are very hard to overtake, so Stephanie trying to force the issue through a bit of an abnormal passing zone. When you do that, you run the risk of not only crashing, but if you don't crash, you still run yourself the risk of just getting overtaken if you fail to make the pass. Especially when someone with the acceleration of the Cobra is behind you and can punish you with very rapid acceleration out of slow corners. You know, when they don't get on the curbs. If Linne held Stephanie up a little bit, even a little bit, through this final corner, Thrasher could use his acceleration and take 7th away. But I don't think that's going to happen, and if anything, I think Stephanie, never mind, does not have a chance of overtaking. Not a chance in heck. Who does have a chance of overtaking is Riley, who I think has pretty much just made a... Nope. Nope, yep, never mind. Pablo had nothing. He had only the curbstones, and those don't help you much. And Thrasher versus Kaiser again. But it's the inside lane, and now Thrasher's gonna get, you know, punished for trying that, as Schwartz will sneak right through. Linne is actually going to be putting some pressure on Pablo now, and, well, as I've said before, putting herself at risk of being overtaken by Stephanie if she messes it up. Honestly, Madison doesn't want to see Linne, doesn't want to know, or doesn't want Linne to pass Pablo either, because then that'll actually make it to where Pablo is left in a vulnerable position, and Stephanie can take advantage. Though, if that fails, Dedrick's in the same car behind her. He's known to be very aggressive. Meanwhile, speaking of aggressive, Riley, who's trying to make an incredibly fast track through the field, just tried it on Isabella. She had the space to go for it because it's Pablo behind her. It didn't work yet, but definitely got to get Flynn to feel the pressure, and then maybe, just maybe, she'll screw up somewhere. she may feel rushed to try something on Thomas that's never going to work. And that'll be exactly what Riley wants to see in front of her. But for now, she will just wait. And maybe hope that Thomas's poor handling will create an opening that she can just put her vehicle through. The only overtaking that's attempting to happen right now is Gina is attempting to get around Hyde, and I think it'll work. Yeah, Hyde had, hope for a second, but then it all just dissipated and he got past. When still unable to find any opportunity to get around the M4 driver. And as I said before, the Cobra, incredibly hard to pass. So Isabella, I think, has kind of hit her ceiling. If she's smart, she doesn't even try and get around Thomas. She just tries to hold Riley off. Well, back behind all of this, Cedric is horrifically offline. I don't know why. I don't think anything is going to happen here either. Oh, maybe. It's desperate, but... yeah, the Lotus has a lot of handling, a lot better brakes, too. I don't think you're going to be able to brute force your way through this one. Not that easily. But, I mean, she's got the distance to work with. Meanwhile, crucially, Dedrick has caught Stephanie lacking something and has taken 7th away. I'm still surprised Linnae hasn't found any opportunity to get around the BMW driver. Actually, he's getting kind of close to the other two in front of him, until he hit that turn. It's been a real give and take. And Thomas's Cobra has poor handling, which means that Isabella, with its good handling, or with her good handling, gets right up to his doorstep. She ends up being slowed down as a result of being directly behind Thomas in his poor handling, which means Riley gets closer. The acceleration means that the Cobra gains space on the Lotus. The handling means that the Lotus gains space from the Corvette. And then the Corvette uses its top speed to track both down just a little bit on the main straightaway. However, we are out of laps. Madison has won the race. And more importantly for her, Stephanie is only going to manage 8th place. So that should reduce the points lead to like 4. No, I can't do math. It's down to 2. Thomas a distant 3rd, and Travis an even more distant 4th. Riley is slowly starting to creep her way into the picture. If she can suss out a win or two, especially as she's coming up to her home track, she has a chance of, like, challenging for at least 2nd or 3rd. This would also be Thrasher's home track, but he's quite a ways out of the championship fight right now, so I don't think that's gonna matter. Here on the starting grid of Mazda Raceway, WeatherTech Raceway. Excuse me. Well, I think I know who the points leader will be coming out of this race. And I also don't really think that Thomas or Riley or O'Reilly. I didn't even notice that. How the heck? I don't think they'll really be able to climb their way closer to the points lead either, because Madison's on the front row. Thrasher is surrounded by Lotuses, and Madison has taken the lead right off the get-go. And Thomas is up a spot. Thrasher, I think, soon to be down one. Because that's going to be a curb he's going to hit. Oh, never mind, he stayed off it. This duel has been quite drawn out, but I think, yeah, Thrasher is going to get away with fourth. Third, not fourth. Numbers are hard. Thomas is up another spot. He has overtaken Dedrick Schwartz and is now in fifth. Pablo already done the last. He's been passed 3 times, and we haven't even completed the first lap yet. I'm done. Not much has happened. I see movement, yeah, back here. Riley is starting to get away up the grid. She's overtaken Hyde. That's it, actually. I think she might have overtaken Darius. Yeah, she did have to do that, so... she's up 2 places, trying to keep up with her, the other Riley on the grid. But besides that, nothing really worth writing home about. And we got 5 laps of this. Oh boy, what did I do that for? Honestly, if this continues in this way, you may not even be seeing laps 3 or 4. And we got something. Travis defending from Akira, and that went nowhere. And we got Riley trying to sneak a move in on Dedrick, which also went nowhere, but, I mean, signs of life, as we, well, Madison, at least, is approaching the final lap of the event. Rather, unthrowing conclusion to this episode here, as I'll be editing it out like a lap and a half. Literally nothing has changed in the last 2 laps, other than Riley trying to sneak a pass in. She can try it again, but the road's not even wide enough to try and pass here. Unless you are a maniac. Thomas has kind of led this crew up to, get up to Isabella. But, I mean, passing her is different from catching, and you've only got 1 lap to do it here. So really, it's like 2 opportunities, realistically. And this is the first of them. The other one is the corkscrew, if you're crazy enough to try. And I don't think there's a chance for that. There is certainly not. Stephanie thought there was room there. She was wrong. And with relative ease, Madison's going to win another race, this time Laguna Seca. She has really found her momentum here, as she's won 2 in a row, and that's a very rare thing in the Challenge Series with random grids. She's absolutely crushed this one, won by almost 6 seconds. Thrasher will take a podium at his home course. And Stephanie walks away with merely 1 point. So that'll do it for this episode of the Challenge Series. It is now a 12-point lead. And then it's another 12 points to reach third in points. 10 more for 4th. So, I mean, the battle for 4th is really close. But the battle for the points lead and the battle for everywhere else isn't. Also, Hyde and Gina are no longer capable of winning the championship. Also, how did Pablo score 25 points? Every time I looked, it seems like he's getting overtaken. I mean, he just finished last in Laguna Seca, so I don't know. I must have missed something. I forgot to change the lap count in this race. This one's basically going to be a throwaway. The only interesting race here, I think, is going to end up being Brands Hatch GP. So this is just going to be the starting grid Grand Prix for the next episode and the final episode of the tier.